All right. So it's so fun to talk to so many great people running these really, really important organizations. And I have the pleasure of talking to three wonderful people today. And you have the pleasure of hearing their impact of what their organizations are doing. So let me bring on board Holly Wilson of the New Hampshire Civics Institute, Eric LeBlanc of NeighborWorks Southern New Hampshire, and Mackenzie Hopkins of New Hampshire Dance Institute. Welcome, everybody. So nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, that's
Thank
great.
you for having us.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. So, so I'd like to just start with a question for you all, which is a pretty simple question before we get into kind of the meat of our impactful conversation. So, Holly, we're going to start with you. Can you tell me how you first got engaged with the organization, and what kind of drew you in to work with New Hampshire Civics Institute?
Well, I am a seventh grade civics and economics teacher at Ware Middle School, and civics is our main curriculum for seventh grade, and it's the only time kids really focus on civics in the K through 12. And I first heard about the New Hampshire Civics Institute, which is actually changing its name to New Hampshire Civics to keep it simple. But it is, I heard about them through an email as a teacher teaching civics. They reached out to me to offer professional development years ago. And I honestly have not had better professional development from any other organization. And there are a lot out there and they're all great. But the New Hampshire Civics Institute has provided just some amazing stuff. And I just feel lucky that my email was on their list because that's how I heard about them.
Wow, that's great. What a unique way to come to a nonprofit organization. Did you just lose power?
No, I'm in the Xerox room and it's I have to do a dance to keep the lights on.
That's so funny. Oh God, that's great. What we need to do as schools and nonprofits, right? So, all right, Eric, let's hear about how you came to NeighborWorks, Southern New Hampshire, and what drew you in, and how long have you been there?
Sure. So I actually became involved in late 2016, almost unknowingly. At the time, I was living with at the time was my girlfriend in Southern New Hampshire in Nashua. We were actually just starting to look at what it would be like to buy a home and start, kind of putting our roots down in the state. We're both from Mass, so we're both kind of new transplants from our southern neighbor there. And we actually stumbled upon this great course. I think it was through online research for a first-time homebuyer course. So we signed up for it. Little did I know that it was the home team first-time homebuyer course that NeighborWorks offers, which is one of the critical services, one of the many critical services that they provide. And it was a really great course that we took. It was almost an all-day course. They had different experts come in, everyone involved throughout the process of starting to buy a home, including a real estate agent, a home inspector, a mortgage lender. They were really great about providing us a really thick book of resources that we could look back on as we're starting this whole process. They exposed us to different federal and state grant programs that could provide financial assistance. So we took this course, and there was actually a lunch break. They provided pizza as a lunch break, and the instructor of the course approached me and saw my name and saw that I was connected to my current employer, LaValle Brensinger Architects, and was like, "Hey, did you know that?" That basically one of the founders of the firm is a trustee of NeighborWorks Southern New Hampshire. I had no idea. Come to find out a couple days later that one of my own coworkers sits on the board for NeighborWorks. He actually moved on to with his family to Maine, but he had asked me to get involved, and so I had gotten initially involved in the project committee. I'm now on the board. and it's a really great way for me to give back to the organization that's given me so much. Because here I am in my home now for 4 years, and happily married to my wife, and loving our life here in Southern New Hampshire.
That's so awesome, Eric. And just what you said about, how they recognize that one of the founders of Valley Brensinger was also a founder of NeighborWorks, Barry Brensinger, right? I would imagine, and
Yep.
Who is also incredibly involved with Manchester Proud and so many other organizations that he's had an influence on. So the story you told just talks about the impact, there we go, that so many people have in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is such a small state that I always say you can be, a big fish in a small pond and have a lot of impact. So that's great. I love how you tied that in there. So
Absolutely.
great. All right. So Mackenzie, how about you? Tell us about, how you became involved in your organization, what it does, what is New Hampshire Dance Institute, and, what inspires you about it?
Yeah, so I actually got involved with NHDI when I was in 4th grade, when they came to my school, and Troy School. That was our first year that we got to be a part of NHDI, and I've been involved ever since. They have been to many different schools, and they teach dance during the school hours, and we get to be involved with live music as well, because we have a live pianist come and play for us while we're rehearsing. And then we practice for months until our show in May normally. And they have a live orchestra, and then we put all of the schools together that have been involved throughout the year, and we perform with each other.
That's fabulous. It's so rare to actually have all that arts happening live. So that's an impact in and of itself. That's something that kids probably don't get exposure to a lot, and audience members don't get exposure to a lot. So what a great thing for you to bring to the community, for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Great. We're going to switch back to Holly. And so Holly, I'd like to ask you a question about, and maybe, think about a 1 or 2 minute response to this, of a story about either how the organization has had a positive effect on your life, or a story of one of your constituents, one of the, people that you serve, and a positive effect on them. Oh, Holly, I don't think we can hear you, or I can't hear you.
I had to unmute myself.
Okay.
You'd think I would know that, all these days on Zoom. So I have a couple stories to share with you. It was hard to think of only one, because the impact from New Hampshire Civics has been so great in my teaching. But one story stands out. During the election this past year, I was exposed to, through New Hampshire Civics, a website called citizenscount.org. And they put together all of who's running for office all over our state and nation. And I was able to create a lesson plan where kids could go in there and learn about who is running. And I'll be honest, I even learned things. I don't know everything about all those politicians. And kids went home and showed their parents. And even parents started to utilize that website. So that had a great impact. And it was because of New Hampshire Civics that I was able to learn about that. I did not know about that website. And the second story I have to tell you has impacted me in the way I can reach students in my classroom. Teaching the 14th Amendment, it's a very complex amendment. It's longer than the entire Bill of Rights, and it's our longest amendment. And I went to a PD that was offered through New Hampshire Civics to how to teach that to middle schoolers. And a federal judge came and told a story about a man who didn't benefit from the 14th Amendment. He was a black man in the 30s. He couldn't get into a all-white school, and la-di-da. I mean, the whole history there. And it rolled into a story about how his wife was murdered in New York City. some 40 years later, and this judge was involved in this case, and the person who murdered the wife got off because of things that happened in the 14th Amendment. And kids are riveted by that. And they remember, well, if you can give a real life example, I showed pictures. I pulled this from the internet. Hocutt, Thomas Hocutt was his name. And who knew about Thomas Hocutt? I didn't learn about him in school. But it was this New Hampshire Civics that they pull in great speakers at their professional development. And so I hope it wasn't too much longer than 2 minutes, but it's an outstanding organization, and I hope they are always in business to help us teachers who are always looking for new resources.
Yeah, Holly, the impact of New Hampshire Civics on especially on a state that has such a huge legislature in and of itself, boy, is that important. And I love the fact that you bring history to life in a way that we can learn from it and apply it today. So kudos to you, New Hampshire Civics. That's great. Great.
Thank you. And thank you to New Hampshire Civics.
Yes. All right. I'm going to switch over to Eric now. And, Eric, ask you the same question about, you did tell us a little bit about how NeighborWorks Southern New Hampshire has had an influence on your life by helping you buy your home, giving you the education to do that, which is great. But any other impact stories about any of the clients? I'm in Manchester, so I have
that interview.
I see what you all do, and it's really, really impactful here.
Absolutely.
In Manchester and Southern New Hampshire. So.
Yeah. So that you kind of led me into it. So I will elaborate a little more on my story, but NeighborWorks has sort of made a name for itself. They've been critical in helping typically lower income families and individuals. They're a workforce and low income housing developer. So they provide critical infrastructure for those in our communities that are most in need. They've helped countless families over the years break the cycle of poverty. They've provided equal access to affordable housing throughout the state. They've expanded their footprint from being just in Manchester to all of Southern New Hampshire. There's actually some really great, I believe there was an impact story earlier today about a project in Manchester, 459 Granite Street, a dilapidated building that NeighborWorks bought and totally renovated into a gorgeous 4-family apartment unit. And it's just one piece of how NeighborWorks is impacting a whole neighborhood and really revitalizing these areas that have sort of traditionally been forgotten. So there are hundreds and hundreds of stories about how NeighborWorks has helped those people through affordable housing and financial counseling. From my perspective, I'm actually representing sort of a different perspective. So my generation is a generation that's saddled with student debt. We're facing housing prices that are 40% higher than what they were when my parents purchased their home in the 80s. Rent prices that are 50% higher than they were half a century ago. NeighborWorks really helped me get a footing here. I know there's probably tons and tons of young families out there and young professionals that are looking to move to the state who could really benefit from the first-time homebuyer seminars that really benefited me. I was able to save an eighth of a percentage point off my mortgage loan as a result of taking the course, which was a drop in the bucket when you consider the overall length of the loan. And so from my perspective, I'm just so thankful that NeighborWorks was there for me when I was buying. And I would thank for the support of the many generous people and organizations throughout New Hampshire. We'd love to continue offering this course for years to come. It's benefited so many previously, and we know it will in the future as well.
That's awesome, Eric. So I just want to also make a couple of quick comments before we go over to Mackenzie. Sure. And that's that You have just shown how, as a board member, you can have an incredible impact by being a fabulous ambassador for the organization. So, round of applause to you for that, for sure. And I
Thank
also
you.
love the way that NeighborWorks Southern New Hampshire collaborates with other organizations like Catch and other similar housing organizations to do things
Yep.
like Home Team. There's a real spirit of partnership there. And so I think that's fabulous. More impact. So
Absolutely.
good. All right. Mackenzie, we're going to wrap it up with you today. And I'd love to hear, as we said, story of impact for you, which you kind of shared a little bit, being a dancer and having been in the organization, or one of your constituents, one of your students. Would love to hear some of that.
Yeah, so I had never danced before until NHDI came to my school. And but that didn't matter because like their whole purpose is to teach dance and music to students no matter their dance background or their ability or anything like that. And actually, my 6th grade year, my dad got to dance in my show with me. He was a seahorse because it was a drop in the ocean. So that was really a fun experience that I got to dance with my dad. And it was really awesome. And just a lot of other, like my grandma got to dance with me a couple shows ago. And my brother and I actually danced together. So it's a great experience getting to have fun with people and like your family members and stuff like that. And it's just been a great experience with NHDI. And I'm so thankful to have been a part of it. And now I get to be a camp counselor and help out at the summer camps and stuff like that with other students. And yeah, it's just really awesome.
That's fantastic, Mackenzie. And, I'll say I'm a musician myself, not necessarily a dancer, but definitely an arts supporter, an arts participator. And so it is so important to keep the arts at the forefront for sure. And you all are doing a great job doing that, giving lots of opportunities to kids who otherwise wouldn't be able to be exposed to this. So impact all the way around. Well, it's been such an engaging time to talk with Holly, Eric, and Mackenzie. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing to make a difference here in New Hampshire. It really, really matters. So now we're going to go to some videos of more nonprofits who are having an impact in New Hampshire. Don't forget, NewHampshireGives.org. Give, give, give. We are almost at $2.6 million. So very exciting. Have a great day, everyone. And if you're live streaming, I'll see you back here at noon.